What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first video you're watching on my page. Thank you so much for joining us here. We're going to be talking about the most amazing time that I had in the country of El Salvador. If you want to hear all about the activities that I did, where I stayed, all that good stuff, please stick around for the rest of the video, and I'm going to share everything right now. So I was looking for a place to travel to on a really quick weekend trip, a solo trip, and I was spinning the globe and I landed on El Salvador. Now, El Salvador has been on my list of places to travel to. It was just not a place that I was just like, I have to get there at any point in time sooner than when I went in March. So when I had the opportunity to go, I said, let me just kind of find out what's there. Let me look into the country. And of course, I've seen things on social media about El Salvador in terms of some activities that are really, really popular there, certain areas and things like that. So of course, after seeing all those things, I wanted to do my own research just to still figure out what my personal vibe was going to be. And I did not know that El Salvador had black sand beaches. Like, come on, like, look at, just take a look at this. Look, I had no idea. So when I found that out, and I was like, okay, well, I have to have that view. So I found a place by searching online. I was just kind of looking at different content creators and where they stayed in El Salvador. And I came across a video of a young lady who was staying at a place called Paraíso Escondido. So I said, ooh, let me look at this place and see what's really going on. So I found their Instagram. I went to their website and I was like, I think this is the place for me. So they are a hotel slash resort, and like they have villas. And the place is just, number one, it's up in the mountains. It's like 2.5 hours away from the airport, but it's so worth it. I mean, the views are absolutely incredible, as you can see. So I said, you know what? This is going to be the place for me. This is where I'm staying. So I booked my villa. I already had my flight, of course, and I booked my flight through United. And I was able to get a round trip flight for around $800. Now, I did these flights about 3 weeks before I actually traveled. So they were a little bit inflated, but I really just needed to take a quick trip. So I said, you know what? I'm going to bite the bullet and I'm going to do it. I paid around $250 per night for Paraíso Escondido Hotel and Resorts. Like I said, it was a 2.5 to 3 hour drive from the airport and back to the airport. So my transport cost me roughly $100 one way, so $200 in total. Now let's take it back to the airport. When I first arrived at the San Salvador airport, y'all, this was one of the easiest, the quickest, the most uncomplicated customs processes I have ever been a part of and encountered. And I've been to roughly 30 countries. It was so smooth. I got off the plane. I was like downstairs waiting on my transport. I promise you, less than 30 minutes from me deboarding that plane. It was so quick. When you get off the plane, you have to go to an area where you buy your travel visa, which costs $12, and you can pay cash or card. I paid cash, so it was $12 US, and I gave them $15. They did give me back US change. That's important because I got some tips prior to going, and they were saying, like, you know, have exact change because they may not have money to give back to you in your currency. If they do, then they'll give it to you in their native currency. So just keep that in mind. If you ever visit El Salvador and you have to pay the $12 travel visa fee, just bring enough cash, bring the $12 even, or if you do have to pay with a larger bill, just keep in mind that you may not get US dollars back. But I got lucky. I did get my money back in US and I was on my way. And then they let you through and you go down. And if you have bags, which I didn't because it was just a weekend trip for me, so I only had a carry-on. I walked right out the airport. My transport was there waiting for me. And it was just such a lovely experience. I really can't stress that enough. A good customs process is always the beginning of a great trip. I mean, not to say that I haven't had bad customs processes and great trips, but this one, it was just so smooth. Like, I really, really enjoyed how quick and efficient that process was. So I get to my transport. He's waiting for me, and then we head off to the hotel. The ride getting from the airport to the hotel was very smooth, even though it was long, because obviously 2.5 hours. I just came off of traveling all morning. So it was a long travel day. However, my transport that I booked through Viator, they were awesome. I actually booked the wrong transport. So I booked transport to a different area in El Salvador, but he didn't, it was just fine. I just had to like pay the difference. So he let me know that I just needed to pay like an additional 20 something dollars. So I said, no problem. I'm sorry for booking to the wrong area. But of course, we sorted that out before I even got there. He let me know that I booked it for the wrong area because I knew that the area that I was staying in was not close to the airport, but I didn't see the area in the app. So I just booked anything. And then I reached out and asked if it was okay, if he could take me there. I gave him the additional funds that he asked for, and we were all squared away. So when I get to the hotel, Paraíso Escondido, I love saying that, by the way. It just sounds so sexy. And I'm greeted by this lovely woman named Rosa. So she is like the property manager, the hotel manager. So lovely. She was like an older woman, and she was just so sweet and endearing. And of course, she showed me around the property. Now, one thing I will say about this property, this is not for people who have weak knees or knee problems or back problems. It is very much so going uphill constantly. So remember, I said it's up in the mountains. The property and the estate is just constant hills, and you have to walk up all of these really uneven hills to get around the property. So please keep that in mind. If you are someone who may not fare well in conditions like that due to medical issues or what have you, this is probably not the place for you. Although it is beautiful, I would not recommend this for someone who cannot walk uphill, someone who does not do things like hiking and lots of stairs, things like that. I would not recommend this place. Outside of that, after I was shown the property, she showed me to my room. And of course, my bags were escorted there as well. We get to the room, she shows me around, and then it was just such a lovely experience. And she was like, she just showed me so much love the entire time. Of course, I was solo traveling. So whenever she would see me at dinner at the restaurant, there is a restaurant on the property. You do not have to leave the property to get dinner or anything. And she would always come over and just ask me how I was doing. She would chit chat with me for a little bit because I was alone. So she was just so sweet. I didn't get a picture with her, but I wish I did, because she just was just the sweetest thing. I know I keep saying that, but she really did make my trip so much sweeter, because the people of El Salvador, they're such kind people. Everyone I met, they were just like, thank you for visiting, thank you for coming here, because as I'm sure you might have heard if you're looking into El Salvador does have somewhat of a reputation for violence and gang activity, things of that nature. But I'm not one to judge a country off of that, because I know just like there's bad things that happen in places, there's equally a lot of great gems and a lot of beauty around those places as well. So I never let something like that deter me from visiting. So I got that question quite a bit. Did I feel safe? Absolutely, 1000% I felt safe. There was never one time that I felt like my life was in danger or that people were not looking out for me. One of the days, well, actually, both of the days I did leave the property. One of those days I went to the famous Cafe Albania, all of the different fun things to do, like the big rainbow slide is there. You have like the drop where they drop you down and it's a big swing. It was just so much fun. I felt like a big kid. I wanted to do that slide unlimited times because it was just so fun, you guys. Like, I was having the time of my life. And I just really needed that day. Like, I really needed a day to just feel like a kid again and to rejuvenate myself. So that's why this trip was so important to me. And going to Cafe Albania and doing those things. And then I did the bicycle zip line, which was really, really cool. And it started raining, guys. It started raining on me. And I did not care. I just kept on trekking along because I was just having the time of my little life. Let me break down the cost for that. So Cafe Albania, they have like a package where you can pay a certain amount where you just do unlimited stuff, and then they tell you what's included in that. And I think that costs like $24. So I did that instead of just kind of cherry picking the little activities that cost $8, like the slide, I think costs $8. Something else might cost $12. The bicycle zip line might have been like 15. So I just paid $24 and I was able to do the slide, the zip line, the bicycle zip line, and then I did the swing. So I did all of that for $24, and then my transport there and back, that cost me about $150. So the drive from where I was staying to get to Cafe Albania, I believe it was around an hour. So an hour there, an hour back. So it was not close at all to where I was staying, but that's okay. Again, the guy was really nice. It was a personal tour. So it was just me and him. This was not a shared tour or a group tour. It was just private transport with me and the person who was driving me and guiding me around El Salvador. Not only did we go to Cafe Albania, but he took me to a really beautiful restaurant, you guys. This was like such a cute place. It had flowers coming from the sky, and it had beautiful murals everywhere. That's another thing about El Salvador. They got it on the art, okay? The art is top tier in El Salvador. Everywhere you go, there's beautiful murals all over the buildings in the city center town area right outside of Cafe Albania. So beautiful. I mean, just incredibly talented people. So I really, really enjoyed that day. I was with him for about 8 hours. So that was another, like I said, 150, and then I paid the $24. And then I paid for my food at that restaurant, which was so reasonably priced. I had like chicken and rice and vegetables for probably like 12 US dollars or so. And the second day that I was there, because I was only there for 2 full days, the second full day that I was there, I went to the Naui Beach House. It's really popular in El Salvador. It's a beautiful little beach house, but also it is a like hotel slash resort as well. But the bungalows to stay there were really expensive, which is why I did not stay there my entire trip. So that was actually the Naui Beach House was 15 minutes away from the place that I stayed at, Paraíso Escondido. So they share a lot of the same similarities in terms of the view. It also has a black sand beach. You can do horseback riding there. You can just kind of lie down and enjoy the pool area. They sell drinks and they sell food. It's a restaurant. It's just a really cute vibe. So it's definitely a place to visit if you're ever in El Salvador and you're looking for a beach house to just kind of, and if you're not staying in a place where obviously you can just hang out on the beach there. But yeah, so I was only there for 2 full days, and then the other day is just attributed to me traveling into El Salvador. Now, because I did stay so far away from the airport, the day of my flight or the morning of my flight, I had to wake up at like 1 a.m. so that I could get to the airport by like 4:30 a.m. for my early flight. So I got everywhere on time. I had no problems getting anywhere. And again, I felt safe with this person. He actually was recommended to me by the hotel, by Rosa. She set up my transport back to the airport for me. So I felt safe knowing that she is the person who recommended this person to me. And I was going to be with him in the middle of the night. So I didn't really feel any safety issues there. But I am a woman traveling alone. So of course, there's always that level of nervousness. But outside of that, I got to the airport on time, safely, intact, and I made it back home. But I would love to visit El Salvador again, really do some more exploring, because that country is just so rich in like this really great feeling. And they have so many active volcanoes. I could just go on and on about how much I enjoyed that weekend trip, that weekend solo trip. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and find it useful if you're going to be traveling to El Salvador soon. If you are, and I didn't answer any questions here in this video, go ahead and drop that question in the comment box and I will be happy to answer it for you. And yeah, if you want to see some photos and any other videos, please check out my TikTok, which will be right here, as well as my Instagram, because there's photos from my trip in El Salvador as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye.